Hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Praktani Adda. I am excited to introduce our speaker, Bikas, who currently leads government affairs at SAP and SAP Labs India. He is an alumnus of RKMV 1984 batch. We will talk about role of civil society and public policy in nation building. And the session will be moderated by Jayanta, his batchmate. So without further ado, let's get started. Please mute your microphones and note that this session is being recorded. Over to you, Jayanta.
Yes, it's good evening, and it's a great privilege for me to start the session and introduce my batchmate, because I mean it's a kind of a joy because I joined with their bid in class 6, and because was already two years senior to me in that premise. So in fact, since 1984 when we passed out, I have not seen Bikas for a very long time. Even though it seems that we have been always very
neighbors in college,
in the campus. We are
Yes.
both studying physics in campus, and then we were in the North campus. Then he was in Delhi School of Economics doing his international business. I was doing my Master of Business Economics in the sister concern of his in the same university in a different campus. But it was, I think, about 2012 when I met him after passing on the way to Vaishno Devi. Because you remember that
I do that. Yes.
and what a nice setting to get reintroduced, and that's when we caught up a bit on the professional side. Because in fact has kind of a career which a lot of people will find it very interesting, because not many people have exposure on this kind of an area where he influences public policy making on behalf of various corporates. It's a very interesting thing, because I'm a worm in the industry, and I understand what criticality it holds. So I am very personally very keen to hear more about it, because and I'll not stand between you and other people, and I want you to straight away begin. We have less participants. I'm sure more and more will join, and then the program is also available online, so anybody can pick up anytime. Please enlighten us with more about public policy making and your corporate backgrounds.
Thank you very much, Jay. I mean, wonderful to be here. Thank you once again to Krishna, Ballabh, Ritesh, all organizers for giving this opportunity. Thanks a lot to my own batchmates, Jayantu being there, Abhijit Sadhu, Pankaj Singh, Pradeep Gupta, all of them, a lot of them really motivated that, yes, this is a great opportunity and you should try and do that. I can see Moon Bora already there. So hi, Moon. So quickly, I mean, without any further ado, I mean, I'll straight away get into the picture. So basically, see, I mean, what public policy as a term, it's nothing new, basically. I mean, if you look at the slide, I was trying to dig into that and realize suddenly that this has been in existence from times immemorial. The biggest example that most of the thought leaders in this area are quoting, as far as the Indian context is concerned, happens to be Arthashastra. I mean, so Chanakya himself and Kautilya, both of them are great examples from ancient times when it was there. It seems at Nalanda it was actually being taught as a course study. So that was pretty revealing to me. Subsequently, various kings and others also utilized that. I mean, there were examples of Ashoka, there were examples of Akbar and everything. But really, if you look at how things started emanating. So first of all, I mean, without digressing, what is public policy? Basically, it's a kind of, you can say, a mosaic or an amalgamation of regulations, which means law, regulatory measures, the guidelines that come in, and obviously multiple other areas from that. I mean, technology also is an important area, funding is an important area, and I'll cover a bit of that onto that. I'll take you to the next slide, basically. I mean, just to go slightly deeper into that. Basically, when any kind of a law, any policy, any program which comes in, which typically we see today as a government program, or maybe our Honorable Prime Minister inaugurating something, maybe just a example of an Ayushman Bharat program. I'll take that for brevity's sake. The whole insurance program, lot of thought process went behind that before that program finally saw the light of the day and program saw the success that we are seeing that. If I take my own example in SAP, so currently I'm in a technology company. If you look at the technology programs that the government has come out with, whether it is the whole Digital India program, which all of you are so aware of, that everywhere mobile penetration today is so pertinent. Everybody has a smartphone, and because of that smartphone, multiple programs of the government have been able to be rolled out in a much more effective way, whether it is your banking on your mobile, whether your Aadhaar authentication on your mobile. And so that whole jam trinity, as they call it in the government, Jandhan, Aadhaar, and Mobile Trinity, and on that basis, the whole DPI, the digital, public infrastructure that is built, has almost become an example for the world to look at. Today, most of the developing countries are wanting to replicate that because they also want financial inclusion of their people. They want benefits to roll out without getting seeped out. So those are the kind of examples. Now, how do those examples see the light of the day? Do you think that our honorable prime minister is all pervasive and he knew that this is how it will come in? No. Do you think the officers that are working over there, brilliant civil servants, Manish being one of them, brilliant civil servants, do you think that they know everything all about it? Possibly no, again. So then the question comes in, how do you go into this deeper, discussing, mulling, brainstorming? How do you do that? Then you start pulling in people from various, areas of life, experts, academics, professors from colleges, and industry also, who's going to get impacted. And then you bring a whole bunch together, and then you get into deciding what this program, what this policy, or what the future of this would look like. So that, I'm just giving you a broad idea to just put together that yes, public policy today is a very, very strategic framework. And it is gone are the days when, so typically, in a nutshell, if I may just come back once again. So the hat that I wear currently, so I represent SAP today, which is essentially a company. And I interact with the government, I interact with the industry associations, I interact with state government, central government, various departments, and the officers of the department. Now, typically, if you go back, say around 30 years ago in the Indian context, or 40 years ago in the Indian context, this role used to be a very, very role of somebody who would be known as a liaisonner, who would know few MPs, who would know few ministers, and would, get things done by this way, that way. I wouldn't go into those details and everything. That whole thing has now changed. It has become a very strategic role. So in almost 80% of the cases today, it is me who get invited by the ministry. In my case, for example, the IT ministry, which they call it MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, officers reach out to me saying that, hey, Vikas, can you come down for a small discussion? We are trying to do this. We are putting together a bunch of people. So the AWS folks are also coming. Google folks are also coming. Can SAP and Oracle also join in? And we would have a discussion. So that's the change that has happened. Today, the government, because it has its own KPIs, it has delivery targets, they are reaching out to various stakeholders who they feel can contribute to the implementation and program of that. So it's become a very strategic function. And obviously, when you break it down, it encompasses a range of policies and decision-making processes aimed at certain objective. Obviously, few features that if you somebody who were to study it, obviously this is more theoretical, that any key feature of any action that you do today in the society, in the civil society, It has to be purposeful. It has to be systematic and strategic. So all those things are there. I'll come down to examples which will probably make the discussion more lively. You will be able to correlate better. As I told you, Digital India, I already told you PLI. PLI is called production linked incentives. In order to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat, India needs a lot of manufacturing to happen. How does that manufacturing happen? The government has started saying that, okay, normally, let's say a laptop or a mobile. How did the mobile manufacturing happen in India? Now, all the mobiles, even the iPhones that you have in your hand, are all made in India. How did this happen? No, it didn't happen. Supply chains didn't want to shift here. China was way, way ahead of us as far as manufacturing is concerned. Government then came out with incentive policies. It said, and then obviously the details of that incentive policies, I used to work for Lenovo at that time. So they used to sit with us and say that, hey, in order to bring in, what do you need? Those policies then were thrashed out and they were brought in. Today, what happens is that anybody who's manufacturing a mobile phone in India gets back certain amount of money that they have invested back, so that they can simply either keep it as their profit or they can reduce it from their cost of manufacturing. Either way, howsoever they want to do that. And because of that incentive program that came in, which was called the production linked incentive, suddenly you see the entire manufacturing of mobile phones shifting to India. Every brand that you have in India today is being manufactured in India. Not just being manufactured for India, now we have almost become one of the second largest exporters of mobile phones. So the iPhones that are going to be sold in US are going to be made in India. iPhones being sold in US, the current tariff war and everything is also fueling this kind of a direction change that has already happened. So now you can just get a feel as to how one policy can create such a huge difference. And what did the policy and manufacturing create in as a result? Huge amount of manufacturing, many of our engineers getting employed over there, huge amount of supply chain shifting to India. Earlier, what was happening is that we were only getting in the components and assembling it up over there, doing testing and marking it as make in India. Now it's gone deeper. So suddenly you have started finding the small components that go into the mobile phone, the screen, the camera. A lot of things are now getting manufactured in India. So that is a great example of how a public policy, meaning the corporate affairs people who worked for these companies, engaged with the government, and the government agreed that yes, this is a win-win-win situation for everybody. So that is another. And as I say that, so the key success matrix for a government affairs professional, in my opinion, is three things. I mean, one, I can create the balance in promoting something that is going to be a win for the country. It is going to be a win for the government, and also going to be a win for the industry that I'm representing. Then it actually becomes a very, very potent mix to see the light of the day, and that's exactly how it has happened. Job of public policy experts or job of public policy professionals is to try and hit that balance where it becomes a win-win for the country, for the government, and for the people of the country. Then you suddenly see it light of the day, and that is a job that I do day in, day out. As I come into my career path, I'll tell you that by having such formulas of success, guys like us are almost industry agnostic. So, I mean, today I'm representing a tech company. Tomorrow I could be representing a textile company. Day after tomorrow I could be representing a steel company, and still, encounter similar success stories in policy making and policy changes that can happen. So, till you are very strategic and you get the basics right, you can work around industry. Industry does not become a limitation for you. Similarly, so I talked about already economic policies where public policy plays an important role. There are social policies where public policy plays an important role. The whole issue of Manrega, the Indira Awas Yojana, again over there, it is not just that the government came out with a policy. Now it has to get it implemented on the ground. To get it implemented on the ground, the construction companies have to come in, the suppliers have to come in, the whole supply chain has to come in. Everybody has to get together. Only then the whole scheme sees the light of the day. education policy, the whole national education policy that is being rolled out. I mean, obviously, there are multiple stakeholders involved in national education policy also, which is apart from public policy professionals, there are academics who are involved, there are institutions who are involved, there are private universities who are involved. So, private universities, so education is also a great big industry today over there. There are public professionals representing those industries in these forums and these kind of meetings and policy making process. Environmental policies, the whole, again, when I was with Lenovo, when I was with the device company, the whole e-waste policy which came out. I mean, there were a huge amount of back and forth that happened between us and the government before we finally agreed on the final rollout of the policy as to how things that are useless, electronics that are useless at your end, how do we take it to dispose it? So, I mean, all those things. So, I'm just giving you a few examples. We'll be happy to take questions as we go in. A healthcare policy that I talked about is another, Ayushman Bharat, another policy. Again, a lot of back and forth. Pharma companies are getting involved, medical device companies getting involved, hospitals getting involved, government getting involved, and then you come out with the whole policy. Insurance companies getting involved, and then you come out with the whole policy that has seen the light of the day. Coming back to the next slide. So, as I was telling you, the whole, this whole line of or this profession is very, very interdisciplinary. As Jay was mentioning, I mean, so I'll just come down to that before reaching to my career path. If I were to see as a public policy professional, where probably the most evolved public policy environment or ecosystem exists today, I think US is one of the best ones. Over there, every 5 years, the government or with a new president, a whole bunch of new bureaucrats come in. And while those government officials come in, they are drawn from various fields. So there are people who would have been, taking classes or becoming professors at universities. They come back. There are people like Elon Musk, who is an industrialist. He comes in. There are other people who are, let's say, defense experts. They come in. So this whole interdisciplinary approach is one of the very, very critical features of public policy. US, in my opinion, is a great example where this whole movement between academics to government to industry, back and forth, is very, very smooth. People do it all the time. And in the process, what happens is that the government gains, governance gains, so the policymaker, they gain, academics gains. Somebody who's a practitioner, who's actually working in an industry in a company like Microsoft or Google or SAP. I mean, tomorrow, if that person is going to back to the industry and taking a course for an engineering graduate, imagine the kind of value that that person is bringing, the latest things that are happening in the market today, everything is coming in. And similarly, people from academics going into industry and helping research, helping development, the whole AI thing that is happening is such a great collaboration. US, in my opinion, happens to be a great example. Mainland Europe, I have not seen so much of it happening. They're slightly subdued, but public policy professionals are always kept in very high regard as far as US is concerned. That's where I feel that they're the biggest heroes. In India, public policy today has become very, very pertinent. The whole US example getting replicated. Invest India. It's a kind of a quasi, it's not a pure government body. It's like a, special purpose vehicle that has been created by the government under the blessings of the Commerce Ministry or the DPIT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And they have drawn in wonderful, brilliant professionals, MBAs, and everybody. What is their job? Their job is to promote investment in India. They are the ones who, like a body, sit like an umbrella. And whenever an investor is wanting to invest in India, set up a factory here, set up a business here, construct a big hospital here. These are the guys who then handhold that investor through the rules and regulations. Obviously, a lot needs to be, improved over there. But these are the guys who actually do that. And the bunch is a wonderful bunch. Lawyers, MBAs, business economics folks, all of them are setting up in Invest India and doing work on behalf of Government of India. Niti Aayog today, the erstwhile Planning Commission, all the time is seeking they're seeking interns to come and work in various fields, whether it is their agriculture policies, whether their health policies, whether they're, any other policy, manufacturing policies. All the time they are seeking interns who are there. Similarly, people who want to go into diplomacy, there are public policy experts who are now interning in MEA. Yeah, United Nations is a great example where public policy experts are working in. Just to add to that, NGOs are now suddenly becoming very, very active and have public policy professionals. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has probably one of the biggest public policy teams. I mean, these are the guys who actually go and engage with various departments of the government, engage with various state governments to push their policy. Interesting thing, I'll just give you an example. So, I mean, when I was with Lenovo, many state governments were wanting to promote or distribute free laptops to students of class 12th or who are passing class 12th and everything. So that was like a benefit scheme that the state government wanted to run because that was popular. They thought that that will give them dividends when they come up for the next elections. Jayalalitha was one of the first ones to start off in Tamil Nadu. And in process, what happens? Other states also copied that. For a device company like a Lenovo or a Dell or an HP, it was a huge business opportunity for us. So we were engaging with the state governments to push for let the order come to Lenovo and everybody. When UP government was deciding on this policy, they decided that in order to bring down the cost of the device, they will not go in for Microsoft OS operating system. They will go in for open source. And they were probably procuring something like, I think like 5 lakh or some laptops were required at that time. As device companies, we said, fine, I mean, I can give you an open OS or a Linux or whatever, and you can just go ahead to that. Now, that was a business loss for Microsoft because unless the devices with Microsoft were not going, they were getting out of business. You know what happened? Bill Gates actually traveled to India. Their public policy folks created a lot of meetings, this, that, showcasing everything. And suddenly I got to know that Bill Gates announced a $1 billion grant through Bill and Melinda Foundation to promote basic grassroots healthcare in UP state government. So the whole newspaper carrying it. But being a public sector, public policy professional, suddenly I realized that there is more to see than what has happened over there. And actually, same thing happened. What happens is that the whole order or the RFP, as we call it, was changed. And then it was said that, okay, we will take laptops with Microsoft OS. So this is an example I just wanted to give you as to how strategic the whole policy making process can be and how it is influenced by public policy professionals. Coming back to Global Institute. So now today, when I started off, probably it was not very, very popular. As I told you, there was a shift that was happening from a listener to a public policy expert. It was not really looked at in very good light. People used to say that, okay, you go and bribe somebody to get your things done. And from there, but globally, interestingly, there are public policy courses being run by most prestigious institutes. I mean, Harvard has it, Stanford has it, Princeton has it, LSE has it, and you name, everybody seems to be having a full-time public policy postgraduate courses are running over there. So that's the kind of seriousness that public policy had in West and now probably it's seeing over here in India and other countries also. Now in India, incidentally, IITs are coming up with public policy programs. IIMs are coming up. I mean, I just was there at an inauguration program of IIM Sambalpur, where they have come out with a BS program on management and public policy. And they are taking sciences. So it is not something which they are only looking at lawyers or only looking at somebody who has studied political science or any liberal art course. They are looking at people who have done physics, chemistry, maths at 12 level. They are wanting them to come and join that. So it's becoming very scientific also. It's not just all about that. NLUs, law, me being an example, is a great area to really, go into public policy because that's how you understand the laws better and also get a feel of how the law making process takes place, how are laws created, how are laws, enacted and things like that. So then, as I told you, because of NGO and the social sector coming in, organizations like TIS have a public policy program, and specific public policy schools have now come in, ISPP, where I once in a while go and take lectures, interact with their students. It's called Indian School of Public Policy. There is an institute called Takshila Institute that has come in. Jindal University now has a public policy program. I think Ashoka also has a public policy program. So that's in a nutshell what this whole sector is all about. Now coming back quickly to my career path, so that I can just cover it up in next 5 minutes and leave it open to questions. As far as my career was concerned, as I told you, after passing out from Vidyapeeth in 84, I joined Vidyashala in Mysore. 86 is when I passed out. Then I joined, as Jay told, I joined physics at Ramjas College. I did my physics honors, but while doing physics, I had, interacted with some lawyers, and I really liked the whole field so much that I made a shift from science. I qualified the entrance exam of Campus Law Center in Delhi University. I joined them. I completed my science course. Unfortunately, my law practice did not take off because of my own parental mindset. So my father, me being from from Bihar, at that time it was not really. He said that it's not something that you people do. They do it only when you don't have any other. That was the mindset that he was carrying. Net. I had to actually come back to the university, and I qualified this exam, which is now called MBA in International Business. Delhi School of Economics, Department of Commerce offers that. I qualified that entrance, and then I did my 2-year, MBA program in International Business. And since I had, and I didn't want to leave law, I didn't want to leave international business, and since I had a combo, I realized that probably policy side would be better. There were offers from export houses. Adani at that time was recruiting me, but I had a parallel offer, very low cost at that time, from FICCI, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce in Industry. And that's how I preferred that. I went there and I spent 10 years in FICCI. And that's where, all the academic skills that, knowledge that I had gathered, I had first-hand experience of executing them into policy, making policy changes. I was representing industry. I was actually heading the foreign trade policy division. So much of the export-import policy that you all now we call it foreign trade policy, as you see it today, many of them were drafted at my desk, taken to the DGFT, the Director General of Foreign Trade, and enacted up over there. The whole EDI system, where electronically you could file your export documents or import documents, get them cleared. All the custom modifications that is happening today actually happened at my time. So it was a wonderful experience. And after having spent almost 10 years over there, I took a graded decision. I didn't jump into a industry as such. I actually spent some time at the Danish Embassy, the Denmark Embassy. I was part of their commercial section. The job of the commercial section folks was to help Danish companies establish business relations in India. So there were many manufacturing companies who were coming and setting up factories in India. There were companies who were looking at India as market. So we were kind of helping those companies up over here. And while I was at the Danish company, one of the companies that was getting set up was the beer company Carlsberg. And since I had a law background, I was helping them with a lot of their permissions at that time, called FIPB, Foreign Investment Promotion Board, with RBI and other things. And because of having been working so closely with them, the chairman actually wanted me to join them and create the framework for compliance for them. So alcoholic beverage is a very regulated industry. There are state laws, excise laws that you have to undergo, both for manufacturing, for selling, everything. It's a very archaic law system, British era laws that are still continuing in the country. But then obviously that it is a huge revenue churner for the government. So obviously they don't want to let go. They haven't let it go into GST, despite the industry wanting it to come in. So I worked for Carlsberg. I set up their entire compliance system. I got all the permissions that they had. They set up 5 breweries at that time in 5 states, in Rajasthan, in Himachal Pradesh, in West Bengal, and also in Andhra Pradesh. I was actually working very closely with those state governments to come out and do things like that. Interesting examples over there, so which I'll come in my learnings part in a little bit. And after having done the compliance bit, I really didn't have much to do in Carlsberg. And that's when I wanted to join a technology company, having realized that technology is the time is very, very important for a country like India. We were just embarking on a growth story at that time. So 2010 is when I actually joined Lenovo as a device company. Though it was a Chinese company, I preferred to join that. I had offers from IBM and ITC also, but ITC wanted me to do their public policy only for their tobacco business, which after having done beer, I didn't want to go into another sin industry. I said that, okay, either you give me the entire portfolio or no, I'm not interested. IBM wanted me for their labor laws. They were facing a lot of labor laws issues in the states where they had offices, Karnataka in particular, but again, that was narrow. Lenovo actually gave me a completely white sheet for me to paint. I was actually setting up the public policy. And by the way, I mean, so public policy in various companies are known by various names. Some people call it government affairs. SAP calls it government affairs. Some people call it corporate affairs. So these are all, almost literally same thing, and but very different from corporate communications. Or you should always remember that communications and PR is something which is completely different ball game altogether. Many people do duplicate many places. CSR is bundled up, but I mean, for me, in my roles, while I always had a foothold on all these also, but my pure focus has been on public policy. And so Lenovo was another 10 years where I was looking after manufacturing. They have a factory in Pondicherry where they manufacture devices, desktops and laptops. Then, while I was at Lenovo, they bought Motorola, so they had a Motorola factory in Chennai also. So all those things were there. By then, the regime changed. 2014, the current NDA government came in. The whole digital policy came in. Digital India policy came in. So there was a lot of action which was happening up over there. After having worked for almost 10 years in Lenovo, I took a step. Probably I wanted to do something for an Indian company. I joined Oyo, which is a hospitality company. So I joined Oyo as their head of corporate affairs for India. Unfortunately, the timing was not right. COVID hit the moment I joined in. I joined them in February 2020. March onwards, COVID hit. So obviously, being a startup, I mean, while we survived, it's yet to come back onto roll. Their IPO and everything is not coming. So, and suddenly many roles were getting duplicated. So my boss, who actually brought me in, also they were supposed to be shifting to US. They got stuck, and then obviously a situation came to where one of us had to leave. And in the meantime, SAP happened. And again, wonderful company to work with. It's in the software ERP side. Many things that I'm doing currently with the government is on digital transformation of MSMEs. Jay was party in a Bombay program where we are now trying to push rapid, this thing, digitalization of MSMEs. So again, as I told you, it's a win-win. Win for SAP because it is business for SAP. Win for country because if MSMEs digitalize, they become more competitive. That's how they survive the global competitiveness onslaught. Those are the kind of things you do. I'm doing a lot of things on the sustainability side because digital has a great role to play in all your sustainability matrices and how to meet up with them. AI is a great area. For me, business AI side is more important. So companies are now using their ERP is now coming embedded with AI, and those ERPs are actually giving insights to the companies as to where they are going wrong, where they can reduce costs, where they can strengthen their supply chains and things like that. So that is all about SAP, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. Learning from Vidyapit very quickly, which is very, very important, is obviously one thing which I mean, being in a boarding school from such a young age, I personally feel that I'm very amicable, which has come so I can meet with people. I like interacting with people, and that has really kept me in great stead in my career progression also. So even in with most difficult of bosses, I have been able to manage them pretty well. Second big, advantage of Vidyapit was the three language formula. I mean, I can't tell you the number of instances where because of my Bengali, I had I mean, amazing success with nobody had ever thought that I could go and crack that kind of situation. So knowing an extra knowledge, getting into I mean, and starting to talk to that. I mean, let's say if there is a almost like an additional secretary who's a Bengali, and I mean, with a Bikas Singh kind of a title, the least that last thing that you would have expected that I would start a conversation with him in Bengali. And the moment he I do that, I mean, the whole scenario changes. Whenever I've been able to put together that I'm a Ramkrishna Mission student, the whole thing changes. I'll tell you an example. Carlsberg, alcoholic beverage, a humongously corrupt industry. Nothing moves without giving money. And as Carlsberg, I used to go and sit with the excise officers, excise commissioners, and tell them that, look, boss, I will not give you. I will not give you. Do whatever you want to do. I'll not give you. And I actually, I mean, they delayed it, but ultimately they, succumbed and did that. So these are some things from Vidapit, which I mean, will always remain with me. I think we will be there another 2-3 years of active career. But even after that, public policy professionals are now being, roped in as advisors, as professionals in think tanks, professionals in NGOs, professionals in social enterprises. So I foresee myself being in this field for a few more years, and hopefully try and help whatever I can do for the country. So that now I'll take a pause. It's been quite a long this thing. So back to you guys, back to Krishna, to you to now take this forward, howsoever you want to take that.
Nada, so there are few questions, I think, if you would like to take up.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Bikasda has first asked, Dada, Reliance Jio gave its services free of cost for a considerable amount of time, and there was no opposition by the CCI or any other agency. Can we say it was a policy lapse?
You can say that, but it was not more of a policy lapse. It was a business decision. I mean, it is something like, if I take the example of Amazon today, Amazon is, how do they give so much of deep discounts? I mean, they have the money in their pockets where they are able to give those deep discounts for many, many years, kill the market, and then probably increase. So it's more like a business decision. Yes, CCI should have taken cognizance of that. And I would tend to agree that yes, at that time probably the government was, either they decided to look the other way because they wanted a company like Reliance to really come up into that. There could be, they would have dealt or managed the government folks well, could have happened. But yes, I do agree that that should not have happened, of giving free, hooking on customers, and then really managing. In my opinion, it's not very ethical. But then it's a business decision. People with deep pockets have been able to do that.
Okay,
E-commerce is a typical example today.
then there is another set of questions where he asks how top four consultancy firms have captured the government decision-making space, despite government having their own bureaucracy.
So, I mean, I will tell you there, and Manish will bail me out. I will much rather want to give it to Manish to answer this question. See, if you look at our civil services, it's a brilliant bunch of people, toughest exam in the world. They crack it. Amazing training programs subsequently that they have. Okay, but then what happens is that it is obviously it's in my opinion, and Manish, I'll again fall back on you. I feel that government needs generalists also. So they are general folks. So today, a bureaucrat would be leading the education department. Tomorrow, he or she is leading the health department. Day after tomorrow, is leading the IT department. So they need people who have that upper, it's like a CEO's role. A CEO doesn't always get down into nitty gritty. CEO has to look at the larger picture, the P&L, and things like that. Now, having said that, So obviously, and then there are decisions, as I was just going through the IT decision, Digital India, PLI, Ayushman Bharat, which are very, any decision related to defense sector are very specific decisions where you need domain knowledge also. And if you don't have that domain knowledge in-house, you get that domain knowledge from outside. All the big fours today provide that knowledge in a very great manner, sitting with the government, and they provide that because, and that's why you find that the bestest of brains from IITs and IIMs and others join them. So they have that, knowledge bank with them, which they then the government tries to utilize that. They pay them, and for the big fours, it's business, and for government, it's like getting a point of view which the government in-house can't really create that. So it's a good thing. I mean, it should be promoted, in my opinion. It shouldn't be looked at. Otherwise, I told you, I mean, our honorable Prime Minister, is he all pervasive? No. He needs a bunch of advisors who are going to advise him. And that's why in the PMO, he has advisors or joint secretaries and regional secretaries who are knowledge experts, and even after retirement, they are being pulled at. The RBI Governor, Shaktikanta Das, is brought in. So obviously, if there is a finance or a banking related issue, he would much rather go to him and ask him, hey, boss, give me the details and things like that. So it's a great combo that is happening. End of the day, you are a resource, you are a national resource. Whether you are sitting on this side of the table or that side of the table doesn't matter at all. It should be. I mean, we should leverage that all the time.
So, Sanjeev Sinhada is asking, in power sector India, what does future of SAP offerings looks? Recently, talk of SAP 4 by S HANA has adapted.
So that again, I mean, Sanjeev, that's more like a business decision. Okay. So what is happening is that if I look, and I'm a non-techie, so I have a very dispassionate view about this SAP business also. So in SAP, what I have seen is that, I mean, till a few years back, we were very much an on-premise company running our ERPs on data centers that were located within your company. The technology has changed dramatically in last couple of years. It has all moved to cloud now. So that change will continue to happen, whether it is a power sector, an oil and gas sector, all the Maharatnas who are there. We are constantly, day in, day out, trying to push them across. We are trying to push government, wherever government was running on SAP ERPs, we are trying to push them to cloud. So that change will happen. So the S4 HANA as a product will remain, but from an on-prem, it will move on to a cloud solution. With AI coming in, business AI has become very, very important area, which is really showing a great ROI on the investment that you do. So, I mean, till what earlier, what used to happen, let's say you bought a finance ERP from SAP and then you run it day in, day out, you run it, no big change. But with now AI getting embedded into that, the system itself is telling you that here you are going wrong, here you can improve, this is what you can do. You don't need coding any longer. You can simply put they have SAP has a tool called Joule, AI tool called Joule. You simply type in, just like ChatGPT, you type in your questions on business side of it, and they are giving you answers. So these changes you have to live up with the time. So it's not just a question. I mean, I can agree that as a customer, you may feel that SAP is trying to squeeze me, and by trying to making a lot of products, kind of end of life, and trying to sell new products with me. But for SAP also, while I'm working for SAP, but nevertheless, I feel that for any technology company, it is important to constantly keep on reinventing and be with the technological changes. Otherwise, the company will be wiped out. I mean, we've seen the Nokias of the world and Xeroxes of the world and the Sony cameras of the world getting wiped out because at that time nobody thought that such a change and everything will come bundled in a mobile phone itself. So these are very great examples of if you look at the list of companies, the biggest tech companies which were there 20 years ago, almost half of them are wiped out now. They are not even there. So you need to live up. So it's, while yes, you may say that yes, SAP is doing a smart thing, but I also can defend by saying that if SAP doesn't do that, SAP will be wiped out also. So you have to, constantly evolve, especially in the technology sector, very, very rapidly. AI is just one example of that. And happy to take more questions, Sanjeev. Don't worry. I mean, I think, acha nahi, we are already on 7:50. ठीक है. No, back to you,
We,
Krishna.
we can still continue. Sanjeev had a follow-up question, I guess. If you could
Sanjeev, please, please.
yourself.
So in power sector, for example, lots of things are happening in last 10 years, starting 1991. So policy, what kind of inputs that they seek from people of your kind of profile?
So, I mean, obviously, I'm from the tech side, but I know, I mean, I have friends who represent companies. So, at the moment, one is the whole mix of renewable versus, and fossil fuel. That is a big story. How do we move? How do we transition? Second, what is the power sector, I mean, power companies' contribution to fuel the economic growth? So, if you look at how India's position in various of these COP, all these climate summits that happen, India has still not gone all out, has been taking a graded step, and our ministers now go out and say that we have to create a balance between our needs. So as the economy grows, the power demand, Sanjeev, will grow. Now, how do you fuel that demand? And for that, it has to be a mix of renewable and a mix of fossil. So we continue to have thermal plant. We also go nuclear. We want to do so that mix. So these kind of things that is the policy. Number two, a lot is on the pricing side. So pricing is the key area. Not go from event power distribution and the retail power movement. So all those kind of things. So these are typically the policies that are, typically get decided. But net in a one line, if I were to say, is that what is the role that power sector is going to play in fueling the economic growth of the country? That's the biggest question at the moment, whenever that comes in. So those were a few that I wanted to touch upon.
Thank you, because that explains a lot. Thank you.
Satyamda, I see you have a question. If you could just unmute yourself to ask.
Hi, yes, sir. Because I have this this question is relevant. It's keep getting asked for all the careers today these days. But how do you think that public policy will get impacted due to AI? So a lot of the consultancy firms they have developed their own AI repositories,
Yes.
and so McKinsey and all.
Yes, Satyam.
So
So, yeah, please go ahead.
So going forward, the entry level jobs, how vulnerable they are going to be?
So as I told you, I mean, yes, AI that way, yes, has that many repetitive jobs, Satyam, uh, which were hitherto being done by entry level people are going to go away. There's nobody should have any doubt about that. But also at the same time, try and look. So what happens, as I was telling you about SAP, reskilling, upskilling is a very, very important area for all of us to, be very conscious of. Whether we are in a private sector, whether we are in legal side, whether we are in HR, whether we are in the government officers also undergo very multiple trainings periodically these days, which are almost compulsory for all of them. So one is that you have to really reskill yourselves and upskill yourselves in case you are already there. At the entry level, Satyam, what I'm seeing is that while yes, some jobs will go, but also at the same time, please try and utilize AI as a tool, as an enabler. The moment you know how to leverage AI, your output becomes so much so better. I would try to take you back a couple of years and take you to an historical example. So when the banks were being computerized, there was a huge hue and cry saying that, I mean, jobs will be lost and people will low. The whole unions used to be up in arms and things like that. But look today, I mean, what has happened? Computers came in, jobs were removed, but new jobs were created. And look how the banking sector has completely transformed itself because of technology. So, I mean, same way, Satyam, I don't disagree with you. Never. AI, yes, is going to take away jobs. Microsoft, I think IBM has said that, just 3,000 HR jobs globally. Just last week, they've announced that they are going to be doing away because they were repetitive, and now AI can do that. Yes, those kind of jobs are going to go away. But people who are leveraging AI to improve their output would be there. So it's a constant need to reskill and upskill. Until you are able to do that, you can rest assured that your profile is safe, number one. Number two, in areas like public policy, legal, those kind of areas are very cross-cutting at the moment. So really, I mean, I don't foresee a situation happening where the Supreme Court will say that I don't need lawyers today because AI is doing the job. I know all the cases and everything. I don't foresee that happening at all. Same way in public policy, because it's a fantastic culmination of a lot of cross-cutting traits, a lot of cross-cutting expertise. Probably AI will, I mean, while it can do a certain amount of job, but it will always be found lacking because of the cross-cutting nature that I told that. So in my opinion, I don't foresee legal area seeing many changes. So while lawyers are now using AI to get precedents, to get cases, to get decisions and things like that, but the argument that they have to do in the court or the judgment that the judges are producing will not go. Same thing is also happening with public policy side also. So while AI is helping to give you history, geography, how a law came in, but when it comes to a policy formulation, when it comes to rule formulation, the human element is going to be there. That's my thing. But I mean, obviously, the way technology is moving, you never know. I may be wrong.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So while
We
Manish is there, I mean, Manish has been silent. So Manish, some things about civil services and how did you feel that, these kind of public policy folks who used to come and interact with you in your various capacities in the government, do you feel that they brought some value or they were nuisance for you?
Because in fact, you must have seen, I mean, last say decade, the profile of the bureaucracy at Lucknow in Delhi has changed a lot. We have people from different organizations, like coming as joint secretaries, which was not the case earlier. So it is a part of that policy that we have got expertise from, like we have police officers working in water ministry, like Jal Sanchay Vibhag, and in water project kind of thing. So because someone who has done some course in management or some forestry, and he was in say railways, and he has come to the ministry and working in Ministry of Environment. So they have kind of tried to maximize the potential by grouping in people, and that's a part of the new public policy, and that's a very dynamic thing, as you said. I mean, you have been mentioning that it's a very dynamic thing, and as AI is going to be having a great impact in this field also, because things are going to, like in other fields also they have impacted, and in times to come we have a major impact of AI in public policy also. And what I see in the coming few years, more and more people having expertise, people having experience in academia also, or industry also, like you worked in FICCI and all that, and now from there you have come here. So you have come with a plethora of, like you were in LG, we are with different kind of firms, and then some embassies also you have worked with that. So that kind of profile we have, and that is a big advantage for SAP now. So in government also, they're trying to kind of copy that model, and how to get the best potential, best people for the government services.
No, thank you very much. And I'll just reiterate in quickly. So, in SAP, one of the things that I really do with a lot of passion is doing capacity building for government officials. So, people who are in various departments who are running citizen-centric functions, it is important for them to know what technology can help them. So, I mean, under MeitY, you would have heard, Manish, there is a division called NEGD, National E-Governance Division. All right. So that division is actually, roping in officers from various departments, and they are taking them to IIM Bangalore, to other places. And in those programs, we are also bringing them for half a day to SAP Labs in Bangalore, just to showcase to them what AI can do for you as far as governance is concerned. How can the same finance ERP on which a company like a TCS or somebody else is running, how a state government can also run its finances on those kind of ERPs, so that the chief minister or the chief secretary every day morning knows exactly my inflows, my outflows, where is my project there, where does it go out, how does it happen to NHAI officials, that if you are giving out a road on lease or an airport, if you are giving out an airport on lease, what are the various things that you need and how technology can help you. So yes, I agree with you that it has become very dynamic, and the government of India as a policy is now ensuring that the best of exposure is given out to these officers, so that the country gains in the whole process. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any last question?
Hey, I just want to take Anand Mishra here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Anand.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a big thanks to because it was so wonderful
Oh, wonderful.
hearing from you. And I mean, honestly, I was not aware of all the experience with FICCI, Carlsberg, Lenovo, and it was a pleasure. I was trying to capture every word of what you were saying, and I think SAP is extremely lucky, and we are lucky as the Praktani to have people like you leading the way on this charter. So, thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
No, thank you, Anand. Which part of the world are you in?
Uh, I'm still based in London. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see
yeah,
the nice weather behind. I mean, we are, at least in Delhi, we are burning.
yeah. Yeah, it's still about 10 degrees or 12 degrees maybe.
Yeah,
So,
wow,
yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful. No, thank you, Anand. Thanks a lot for your very kind words. Thank you. So, I mean, by the way, before we just close, so even organizations like, I mean, I don't know about Ramkrishna Mission, but even organizations like the Akshardham folks and everybody, they have public policy people to interact with the government, because they're, for them also, imagery, the kind of image that people carry, the kind of image that government carries. A lot of things also do matter to these religious organizations, or religious, quasi-religious developmental organizations also. So yeah, it has a role to play. And even otherwise, even after this call, I mean, we are already on the time. So anybody who wants to reach out, Krishna, more than happy. You have my number. They can reach. You can share that number over here. I'm there in almost all the groups that we have. So anybody who wants to reach out, it'll really be a pleasure for me to help any junior or anybody else. Thank you.
Because can I ask a question? There is
Yes,
of the level. Yes. Thanks
yes,
for a
please.
very wonderful session. Though I joined late, but yeah, it's for a medical person. A lot of that too from ancient times. A lot of learning from us as well. एक ही बताओ ऑफ द रेक वो एक्साइज अफसर क्या बंगाली था?
नहीं, ये तो नहीं, नहीं, ये तो जाट था। जाट था,
अच्छा
मगर वो कर दिया।
तुमने
No,
बोला
but
था कि
no. So the Bengali thing happened. When I was in Lenovo, और मैं
ओके
MEA
ओके
MEA में एक जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी से कर रहा था, और वो मेरे को
अच्छा अच्छा
गाली पे
नहीं
गाली
नहीं हाँ
दिए जा रहा था कि
हाँ
यार तुम
हाँ
चाइनीज हो, तुम दुश्मन हो, तुम ये हो, वो हो। तो जब मैंने
नहीं
सोचा कि
नहीं
जब बिल्कुल ही कबाड़ा
it-
हो गया, तो देन आई सेड कि ছাড়ুন স্যার, এবার কথা বলি, চা খাওয়ান আপনি। अच्छा
एग्जैक्टली
তুমি বাঙালি?
हाँ
तो उसके बाद पूरा चीज ही चेंज हो गया
नहीं
उसके
नहीं,
बाद।
अभिजीत पंकज का भी स्टोरी बताता है द सेक्रेटरी और द एएस Pankaj was attending probably then when he told I'm from Mission or Bengali then the whole thing changed. Abhijit was
हाँ,
telling one day
हाँ,
Pankaj के बारे में the
हाँ।
wonderful thing. चलो
No, but RK mission that way has absolutely been there.
that
I
way they
mean,
have yeah.
because I'll just give you Sikanda one example. After graduation जब मैं लॉ दे रहा था तो उस समय हम लोग का फैशन था एमबीए साइड में जाने का, जो एमबीए और ये सब करने का। तो फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में मेरा हो गया था, बट देन आई प्रेफर्ड लॉ, वहां नहीं गया था। उसके इंटरव्यू में मेरे को बहुत रैगिंग कर रहा था, यही बोल के कि फलना तुम तो आरके मिशन के हो, तुम तो बाहर का दुनिया नहीं देखे हुए हो, ये नहीं किए हुए हो। और उस समय मेरे को स्वामी जी का कुछ कुछ बात याद आ गया, उसको ऐसा मैंने झाड़ा वहां पर कि वो छठा रैंक था मेरा वहां पर एंट्रेंस
अच्छा
टेस्ट में। सो आई मतलब आरके अपना रामकृष्ण मिशन कहाँ कहाँ पर हेल्प किया है,
yeah that's
और
true
कितने इंडेटेड हैं हम लोग, वो तो मतलब हम प्रॉब्ली कैलकुलेट भी नहीं कर पाते हैं उसमें।
agree wonderful session wonderful thanks a lot
थैंक यू श्रीकांता फॉर ज्वाइनिंग। आई मीन आई एम सो ग्लैड कि आप भी आ सकते थे। हाँ, बालाजी इज आल्सो देयर, आई कैन सी हिम।
हेलो, जस्ट
हाय
वांटेड टू से
बालाजी।
हाय विकास दा।
हाय
एक्चुअली
बालाजी,
मैं थोड़ा
थैंक
कैब में
यू।
हूँ तो बात नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ
नो
ठीक से।
प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम, आप लोग सबको ही आए, इतना अच्छा। एंड
बालाजी और विकास दा को लोग बहुत याद कर रहे थे, विद्या मंदिर में गए थे वहां मैसूर में,
हाँ
तो
हाँ
बहुत फैंस थे आप दोनों के, विकास दा को भी और बालाजी को भी, सब लोग याद करते थे वहां पे।
चलो,
Okay.
नहीं, थैंक्स अ लॉट। सो कृष्णा, या अब बैक टू यू।
Yeah. Jayantda, if you have any last words.
यू आर ऑन म्यूट जयंतो। जयंतो, यू आर ऑन म्यूट।
Yeah, in fact, it was a great occasion and great Adda we had. We had a lot of participants, like I mean, a lot of people we have been little out of touch within our batch also. And so enlightening because it was really a broad canvas presentation from your side and uh, something, a lot of people don't have exposure to. I thought one question I was seeing over there in the chat box, which I don't know, I think it has got missed out. The lobbying part of it, which he was mentioning, is not taken in the right spirit in this country. You mentioned about that. But things are changing, in fact, because I think people are looking for professionals who have exposure on this area. And in fact, every company, like, we talk about, has an interest in building the business. And if the perception of this particular profession is completely transformed and it is as well respected as Dr. Srikantuda's profession. I mean, it's a savior for the corporates. Thanks a lot. I mean,
No, welcome, Jay. So before you end, so lobbying is now going to be legal. It is already legal in US. It is getting legal. If you look at the whole, political bond scheme, I mean, things like that, it will be there, but with utmost transparency. What you do, everybody should be aware. That I go and meet up with a secretary and that I talk this to him will be completely transparent. So, I mean, yes, and that's where I brought in the history side as to how from US now we are coming in and the whole era of licensing is now changing into public policy. So you're right, it will take some more time. Corruption in India is huge, especially at the ground level, which makes our job very difficult. There will always be people who will take shortcuts. But then over a period of time, yes, if you are very passionate about nation building and you feel that what you're doing as a representative of industry is helping to the nation building, till then you will be very neat and clean. And obviously that's where Ramkrishna Mission brings that difference into all of us. Yeah.
in fact, it is not about legal part. I mean, because legal, a lot of things are legal, but not taken in the right. You mentioned about ITC and tobacco business. It's absolutely legal, but people don't like to be associated
Yeah.
with that for such certain reasons. So it is the outlook of that profession to public in terms of image.
Yes.
That is also being changed. So more than
Absolutely.
legal, it is the outlook
Absolutely.
of
Absolutely.
the perception of their profession.
Absolutely.
It's something which is very necessary, and I mean, somebody who who can influence policy of the government on the better part of it. It's also
Exactly.
very important. Computer, when we were young, was being seen as an enemy, and in West Bengal, you must have heard about how they used to break computers and throw from the top of the building. it's an enemy. So things have changed over there. Today, without computer, we can't do anything.
Absolutely.
Me and you both are physics honors background. Today, we don't use physics for, apart from, lighting the torch or say maybe using GPS. Beyond that, we don't use physics. But, it's important thing. Technology has been progressing, and you are the best representative of the technological company. Thanks a lot, because I put it back to Krishna, and let's take it forward.
So, on that note, I'd like to thank Bikasda for sharing such great insights on public policy. We appreciate your time and willingness to share your knowledge with the fraternity. I'd also like to extend my gratitude to our moderator, Jayantada, for making the session interesting and informative. To our beautiful audience, thank you for investing the time. And your participation and engagement are truly what make these sessions special. So, with your permission, we'll conclude today's session. The recording will be uploaded to YouTube, allowing those who missed the session to benefit from the rich discussion. Thank you once again and have a great day.
Thank you, Krishna.
Keeping this program going. Yet people like you deserve huge round of applause. It's a thankless
Absolutely.
job. People don't know, but it's a fantastic job you people are doing. Thank you, Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna, to you, Ritesh, everybody, thank you. What Abhijit said,